हाँ हरिबोल
Prabhu, we can start it right now.
okay.
We would like to just give a short introduction of Gopal Champu. Gopal Champu is a BVRV Dean. Here the BVRV Bhakti Vedanta Raj Vidyalaya is there, and it is a the education branch where all the courses like Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav, Bhakti Vedanta, all the courses they are conducting. Previously, we used to register to the Mayapur Institute or Vrindavan Institute, but now ISKCON itself has started. ISKCON Pune itself has started this Bhakti Vedanta Raj Vidyalaya, and simultaneously near about 30 Bhakti Shastri courses are actually happening in this year, as I got the record of this. And he is the dean for this. So we are very fortunate to have him here as a session for the orientation, and he will be guiding us throughout the course how to go for this, what all the etiquettes has to be followed, and what consciousness has to be the scriptures has to be studied. And he is very good friend of mine, practicing the devotional service or the Krishna consciousness from last 22 years. So let's welcome His Grace Gopal Champu by loudly chanting 3 times Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Hari Bol.
So am I audible?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Prabhuji, sorry, Prabhuji, you may have to just put your camera a little down.
Okay.
We can't see you. Now it's much better, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Can you give me access to share the screen?
Just a minute, Prabhuji. I made you co-host, Prabhuji.
Okay.
You can start sharing now. We are able to see the screen, Prabhuji.
Yes. Okay. So we'll chant Mangalacharan prayers. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam
Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam
Rupa
Dhammapadam
Vandeham
Shri Padakamalam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam
Sanitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam
Savitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva
Shri Radha
Krishna Padam
Sri Vishakhantam Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna
Krishna Bhutale
Srimate Bhakti
Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine
Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyadi Vipashyata Deshatarini Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratishe Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. We are very happy to welcome all of you for this orientation session. So this is the second batch from Gachibowli from Hyderabad, and
Yes.
on behalf of Bhakti Vedanta Raj Vidyalaya, I heartily welcome you for joining this Bhakti Shastri course, and we look forward to serve you nicely so that you will get benefited by this course. So today we'll have orientation session. So in this we'll learn what should be the mode of a learner, and what all this course consists about, as well as the formal requirement of completing this course. What are the standards of examination? What are the standards of passing grades and all those things we'll learn today. So this is a Prabhupada's dream, that he expects that every temple should be a educational center. Somebody can read? Dashrath?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes.
Yes.
Brahmanas means they are teachers. So every temple should be an educational center and the Brahmanas should be engaged. They should be properly educated and they should teach others also. In this way, temple means education in spiritual life. Hare Krishna.
So like every city has a hospital. So the purpose of a hospital is to cure the citizens, those who fall sick or those who get into accident and all. So earlier, there used to be a temple in every city. So these temples were not just meant for taking darshan or just going and putting some donations. But the purpose of the temples is mainly to give education to the general mass. So the Brahmanas being the head of the society and producing a learned scholars and those who protect the principles of dharma. That was the purpose of the temples. So in ISKCON, Prabhupada expects that every person participant in the movement of ours should be a learned person. So the Vaishnava is beyond Brahman. So these are the some norms, basic norms which you should follow in your future classes. So kindly read one after another.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Let
Norms for classroom behavior.
Hare
Number
Krishna.
1.
Let Mataji read. Once
Okay.
Prabhuji, once Mataji. Like that.
Okay, sure.
Can I read, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji.
Norms for classroom behavior. We will be present for the entire course wearing Vaishnava's dress. We will raise hands to contribute. We will value students' contributions. We will refrain from side conversations. We will refrain from making and receiving mobile phone calls during class. We will observe confidentiality within and without the classroom. Hare Krishna.
So these are like offline classroom rules. So now in online, we are not expecting Vaishnava dress, but generally we should wear. But at least we should be present, in our online classes. Many times people just put off the screen and they are busy with driving, or they are busy with some other chores of household things. So the class is going on, their attendance also is happening, but it's very difficult to find them in the classes. So please be there and hear the classes whenever they're happening. So that is a consideration for you all. And this is like some classrooms in class, all are equal. There may be somebody as authority, somebody may be a subordinate, but in classes, everybody should be like equally as students, and they should not use their strength of status or position. Somebody can read. Mataji, continue.
Hare Krishna.
I will read, Prabhuji.
Refrain from borrowing. We will refrain from borrowing strength from status or position. We respect the right of the individual to withdraw without stating reasons from any exercise which makes him feel unduly uncomfortable. We will each respect full responsibility for success in achieving our desired outcomes. We will confront issues or behavior, not people. We will each honor any agreement reached. Hare Krishna.
Yes, somebody can read.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes.
Prabhupada on classroom norms. Just like if you enter into any educational institution, if you don't surrender yourself to the rules and regulation of the institution, how you can get advantage of knowledge imparted by the institution. Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandavat.
So knowledge comes in the heart of a humble person. Like Krishna also tells how one should get the knowledge. So Lord tells in Gita, Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashna sevaya upadikshinte jnana jnanistattvadarshi. So we have to be surrendered souls when we want to get knowledge. So that is the basic criteria. So here surrender is not a very big expectation, but being on time, attending class fully, not absconding from classes. So these are our expectations from students. Giving exams on time, doing submissions on time. So this much commitment we expect from the students. So please be reliable to your teachers, be attentive in your classes, and ask your questions with submission, not in argument mode. So Vidya is decorated by Vinay. Vidya Vinayana Shubh. So that is a mood of the student in classrooms. Yes. So Mataji can read.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Everywhere, wherever you want to receive something, you have to be controlled or you have to be surrendered to the rules and regulations. If you do not follow the rules and regulations of this class, it is not possible to receive the knowledge. Bhagavad Gita 7.2.
So in Chaitanya Charitamrita also, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has explained, Siddhanta baliya chitte nakara alas, ya hete Krishna lage sudruda manas. So when it comes to philosophy or learning devotional scriptures, one must be very enthusiastic and one should be very determined. So these qualities of being controlled, being surrendered, and this is very much appreciated and very much required to learn these very valuable scriptures. So this Bhakti Shastri, it consists of Bhagavad Gita, nectar of devotion, nectar of instruction, and Shri Ishopanishad. So in Vedic world, there are Shrutis, Smritis. So Shrutis are directly spoken by God. It is not made by any person. So all these Vedas, Aranyakas, Samhitas, they all follow the category of Shruti. And Smritis are made by Vedvyas and again the upcoming Acharyas. In that category, Itihas, Puranas, they all come in the category of Smriti. So Bhagavad Gita is a special thing. Bhagavad Gita, it is mentioned in Mahabharata. And Mahabharata is a Smriti Shastri. But still, the Gita is acclaimed as a Shruti. Why it is so? Because it is spoken by Krishna directly. So although it is coming in Mahabharata, but still it has a status of Shruti. Because Shrutis are directly spoken by Lord. It is not made by any person. So this Gita is what we are learning, and it has all Karma Kand, Gyan Kand, and Bhakti Upasana Kand. So these things we are going to learn. And nectar of devotion, here mood and mellow of a sadhaka, it is described. It is what we are going to learn. And in nectar of instructions, what a sadhaka should follow, what mood he should have, and plus basic general instructions which we have to adhere in our devotional service. That has been explained. And Shri Ishopanishad, it is describes about the creation and the what a living entity should explain, what role he has. That all is described in Shri Ishopanishad. So these all 4 important scriptures which Prabhupada, out of his many books which has translated and written, commented, he has made for Bhakti Shastri course these 4 books mandatory. And plus then Bhakti above we have Bhagavatam, first 6 books. Then Bhakti Vedanta we have Bhagavatam 6th canto onwards till 12th. And then Bhakti Sarabhama we study Chaitanya Charitamrita. So like that Prabhupada has designed this Bhakti Shastri courses and the books in it. So this Bhakti Shastri has these 4 books which are going to learn. So Bhagavad will be taught in 3 units. Nectar of devotion will be 1 unit. Nectar of instruction will be 1 unit. And Shri Ishopanishad will be 1 unit. So like that we have total 6 units for your this course. So this is what a general query in the student's mind. What do you hope to achieve by studying Bhakti Shastri? So Prabhupada has given his instructions. So somebody can read. Prabhuji, no?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Shall I read, Prabhu?
Yes.
Hare Krishna, Dhanavad Pranam. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 25 to 78. All of the devotees connected with this Krishna consciousness movement must read all of the books that have been translated. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita and others. Otherwise, after some time, they will simply eat, sleep and fall down from their position. Thus, they will miss the opportunity to attain an eternal blissful life of transcendental pleasure. Hare Krishna.
So Prabhupada has written so many books. And if it is left to us to read, so it is very difficult for conditions so to take on his own a call to read these books desperately. Sometimes we become very careless, or sometimes we become very preoccupied with our material things. And we may always find ourselves busy. But when we join a course, then it becomes, we get a boost, we get a friends, we get other co-students, and there will be an atmosphere to study the books. So that's why this Bhakti Shastri course is designed so well that we will encourage the group of devotees to study together, come together, hear together, discuss together, share with each other. And that way we can relish what Prabhupada has written in these scriptures. Otherwise, if it is left on our own, very few souls are there who take it very seriously and make commitment to read Prabhupada books on their own. But these courses will help us to get a taste to read these Prabhupada books. And once we develop this taste, then we will continue our journey in reading these divine scriptures. Somebody can read? Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Study Bhagavad Gita as it is and Srimad Bhagavatam and continue to help your God brothers in developing Krishna consciousness. Develop your preaching in this way, and this will be the most successful and appreciated endeavor. When you study very carefully all of the literatures which are available, especially Bhagavad Gita as it is, you will have in your grasp answers to all questions that may be put to you. Please encourage the others to read this Bhagavad Gita, at least one chapter every day.
So we see in material world, as the time passes, many things get destroyed. They get destroyed. Like a boy becomes youth, a youthful person becomes old. But amazingly, the ignorance which we have, it will not be destroyed by the time. So we should not feel that, if I just join Krishna consciousness and just spending time in, in a devotional moment, our ignorance will be destroyed. No, we have to endeavor to destroy our ignorance by this spiritual knowledge, by surrendering to a spiritual master, hearing from him, relishing the scriptures, and understanding the word of God. And that way we can destroy our ignorance. But if we don't take this interest and just we spend the time in the moment, this will not benefit us. So we see in material education how much time everybody spends. From the child is just grown up, from 3rd year of his life, people start training him. They start teaching him ABCD. They start teaching him all the mundane sciences. So you see how much time we spend for material education. Practically, just to get a degree, we have spent 80 hours of our the last at least 15 years of our life. So you can imagine how much time I spent for material education. It is unimaginable. But when we come to spiritual life, we feel that I can understand scriptures just by spending a few hours, or just going through once, reading once. No. So we have to deeply study, scrutinizing the study, the scripture like Bhagavad Gita. So this course will help you all to study the courses by the commentaries of Acharyas, and the teachers which will be teaching you, they will share their realizations, and that way you can get doubly benefited by reading under a teacher, and you will get a test, and you will definitely spend your time for classrooms. Otherwise, would not have studied. So this course will give you chance to answer your questions which are there in your mind. And when you study sincerely, then there will be questions. And then these teachers will help you out to get the answers. Yes, next, some Prabhuji can read.
I can read, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Hare Krishna. I want you leaders especially to become absorbed in the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and become yourselves completely convinced and free from all doubt. On this platform, you shall be able to carry on the work satisfactorily, but if there is a lack of knowledge or if there is forgetfulness, everything will be spoiled in time. So especially you must encourage the student to read our books throughout the day as much as possible and give them all good advice how to understand the books and inspire them to study the things from every point of view. Better to boil the milk very vigorously and make it thick and sweet. That is the best progress. So let us concentrate on training our devotees very thoroughly in the knowledge of Krishna consciousness from our books, from tapes, by discussing always and in so many ways instruct them in the right propositions. Thank Krishna.
So these studies of scriptures will give us a right consciousness to perform devotion service. Otherwise, we will become just mundane. Although we are in spiritual institute and we are doing so many things like management or book distribution or various services in deities or other places. But if we forget the essence of for what we are doing, and that will make all these things appear mundane, and we will come to mundane consciousness. To save ourselves from deteriorating our consciousness, we have to recharge ourselves by studying the scriptures regularly and very, very seriously, sincerely. So this will happen by reading the scriptures. So when we have doubts in our mind, then our performance becomes very slow down, or we become mundane. So these doubts can be cleared by studying ourselves under the guidance of teachers or our spiritual master. So this way, we should enlighten ourselves in the process of our devotion service. Next. Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji.
Yes.
Nowadays, it seems that many of the older disciples, like yourself, are having difficulty. If you do not set the example for the younger students and take the responsibility for instructing them in the right line, how will things go on? Try to always study our books and see our philosophy from different lines of directions. Become convinced yourself of this knowledge, and without a doubt, all your difficulties of mind will disappear forever, and you will see Krishna face to face. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
So we are students throughout our life. No? There is no end to study. So we should not feel that I have learned enough now. I don't need to study books of Srila Prabhupada, or I don't need to study at all. So this way, lethargy in studying scriptures will bring us to mundane level. But when we go on studying, Prabhupada himself, he has told, if he gets chance to translate another book, so Prabhupada tells that I will translate again Bhagavad Gita. Because there is so much in Bhagavad Gita. Every day whenever we read, the new relations appear in the heart of practitioner. So that way, by reading these scriptures, the word of God, we will develop love for him, and we will become qualified one day to see him face to face. Next.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji.
Mm.
Steadiness. Yes, as sannyasi and GBC, your first duty is to read my books. Otherwise, how will you preach? In order to remain steadily fixed in Krishna consciousness, there must be a sound philosophical understanding. Otherwise, it will become only sentiment. Whenever you find the time, please read my books. Letter to Satswarupa Dasa. Letter to Satswarupa Dasa Goswami, January 5th, 1976.
So this reading Prabhupada books or studying Prabhupada books is not just matter of our course time. That we complete our Bhakti Shastri course, then we'll stop reading. No, this will continue. Even you become sannyasi or you become a topmost or GBC, whatever. Till last moment we will be studying these books. And that is a steadiness which Prabhupada expects from his students. So this course is just the beginning. It's not the end. So that not that after Bhakti Shastri we will not touch Gita again, or we will not touch NOI again, we will not touch NOD again. No, we'll continue our studies. This is just a beginning. Next.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. Read and apply. Yes, reading my books will help you. Philosophy must be there, but if you do not also apply the philosophy by participating in all temple affairs like rising early, attending Mangalarati, performing devotional service, then simply learning the philosophy will have no effect. Thank you so much.
So this studying scripture is not like material science, where a student studies, and when he comes out, nothing will be applied. So his studies and his actual application is totally different. But that is not true for spiritual subject matter. So whatever we are studying in the scriptures, that we have to apply in our day-to-day life. We have to learn how to live a life of a devotee. So we may get good marks in our exams, or we may get good grades in our, we can be good writers, or we can just, mug up some things and then we can write it down in exams. But that should be implemented in our day-to-day life. We have to apply also. So not just getting good grades is sufficient, but we have to become simultaneously a good devotee, a good practitioner. Otherwise, there are many people who have got PhDs in various scriptures written by Goswamis, but they have not given up their smoking, drinking, such a bad habits. Although they got a PhD in it. So like that, we don't want to become a students. So we study, we digest it, we apply it in our life. For us, these studies are our life. The studies are not just mark oriented. The studies are purification oriented. So we should be inculcating the studies, not just memorizing them and forgetting them later. So that is not the purpose of our scripture studies. It has to be memorized as well as it has to be put in our practice, in our day-to-day life. So that is what expectation of Srila Prabhupada from us. Okay.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Understanding from varieties of angles. I am very much stressing at this point that all of my students shall be very much conversant with the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, and that they should read our books very diligently, at least once or 2 hours, at least 1 or 2 hours daily, and try to understand this subject matter from varieties of angles. Hare Krishna.
So Prabhupada has given his expectation from us that how much time we should spend. And it is written at least, not at max. So minimum at least we should give 1 or 2 hours a day. So during this course time, you all please seriously take the studies and don't just have a bird's eye view while studying. No, go deep when we are studying. Just don't get a overview. Teachers may teach you just overviews, but make sure that we read all the purports. We hear other lectures on it, which Prabhupada has spoken on those verses, or other teachers, other spiritual masters, if they have given classes on it. So like that, we should try to equip ourselves with all angles, understanding one particular verse. So that is a good sign of a student. Next.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandvat Pranam. In my books, the philosophy of Krishna consciousness is explained fully. So if there's anything you do not understand, then you simply have to read again and again. By reading daily, the knowledge will be revealed to you. And by this process, your spiritual life will develop. You may please me the most by reading my books and following the instructions therein. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Like we see all mothers, they tell their children that after playing, you have to wash your hands and eat. So this mother tells the child every time. The boy says, Mama, I have heard it. But what is the problem? He has heard it, but he is not practicing. So we also have heard that I am not the body, I am spiritual. But it has not become realization. So that's why we have to hear again and again. And Prabhupada makes sure that it goes in our consciousness. So that way, this reading will help us. It will remind us the principles of devotion service again and again. Next.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji, we can hear you.
Prabhuji.
Loud.
A devotee in Mayapur.
Your sound is not audible.
Kant Prabhu, you may have to move your speaker a bit closer to your mouth.
Sorry, Prabhuji.
Somebody else can read?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes.
Srinivas Prabhuji, if you want, you can carry on.
Thank you. A devotee in Mayapura once got up.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Am I audible, Prabhuji?
Yes. Somebody can read. Both of
Prabhuji, should I mute or
Yes, yes, please. Sri Govind.
Srinivas?
Srinivas.
Yes,
Srinivas.
please read.
Thanks. Another Pranam. A devotee in Mayapura once got up to leave in the middle of one of the Prabhupada's lectures. Where he is going? Prabhupada asked. He has some work to do. A devotee answered. This drew fire from Prabhupada. What work? Nonsense. Unless you hear what work you can you do, it will just be karma unless you hear. We cannot just read the books and do nothing for the spiritual masters, but neither can we serve without the knowledge gained by reading the books. As Prabhupada states in the letters quoted above, we must both read the books and follow the instructions. This is the combination that pleases the spiritual master the most. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
So when we don't hear, when we don't read, when we don't chant nicely, then our all devotional activities just become mundane. We become quarrelsome, we become jealous, we become envious, we start fighting with others. So these all bad qualities start, arising in our heart. So to stop those things, we must hear, read, chant very, very attentive, very, very nicely. So now this course is online. So already we are at risk because we are not present in front of the teachers. But now what can be done? We have to be, adjust with this bad barrel. So we all are busy now, but anyway, we have taken this path of online learning. So at least we should do justice with this online learning 100%. So in that also we should not become lazy, or we just put the screen on, or we just log in and we are doing 100 other things. So no, we should make sure that somehow or other we should attentively give audience when the classes are happening. And that way we should give our full participation. So this will help you. It will save you. Or joining late, that is also not good standard. Or leaving early. So this is also not good standard. So we should be on time and take thorough advantage of these classes and hear very nicely. When we hear this spiritual subject very, very attentively, then it will give us energy to do devotional service with the right consciousness, with the right spirit, with right understanding. Otherwise, if we don't hear, then we just become an ordinary worker. Like there are many workers, those who are running factories or running the big organizations. So like that, we may run this movement, or we may serve in this movement with just mundane consciousness. To save from such a bad quality or bad consciousness, we should give audience to this wonderful learning of these scriptures. So what are the aims of Bhakti Shastri? So Prabhupada has given us. Somebody can read, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandat Pranam. Aims of Bhakti Shastri. I think you may have already heard that in January of 1970, we will be holding an examination among all of our students on this book, and those who will pass shall be awarded with the title of Bhakti Shastri. Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandat Pranam.
So this, whatever courses we are starting, it's not something concocted thing. This is given by Srila Prabhupada. It was very much desire of our Srila Prabhupada. He wanted that we should have these courses where there will be exams, where the people will take the studies very seriously, and they will be judged, they will be tested, and then they will be awarded these titles. So nobody should feel that, what is this Bhakti Shastri? Why we are doing this? Is all mundane. This is just Bhakti is state of heart or like that. So we should not feel it. Or we should not compare with our previous acharyas. We should not tell that where they had degree, where they had Shastri, where they had course. So they all were great. They all were noble. They all were devotional. But we are born in a product of Kali Yuga. We need some, some control on our, independence. So these courses will give us a direction, and they will make us study nicely. And that way we can not become a sentimental devotees, but will become devotees with a proper consciousness, with proper adhikar, with proper knowledge, and with proper mood, which our Acharya has given us through his books. So this is Prabhupada's desire.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. With these examinations, I wish to encourage all my disciples to be very carefully learn this philosophy of Krishna consciousness, because there are so many preachers required to bring this message to all of the corners of the earth. Later to Mahapurusha, Los Angeles, 7th Feb 1969. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
So when somebody has studies very nicely, then he will not be scared of exams. So exams become scaring for those students who are not studying. So please, all of you, don't get scared with exams. You focus on your studies. If you study thoroughly, then any question paper comes, you will not be, you will come out very successful. Otherwise, sometimes people just see the 3-4 question papers or question bank which is given, that much only they study. So no, that is not our purpose. Or many times people start copying also. That is also not permitted. So we should not go to such a mundane level. We should not start chit-chatting, or we should not be copying. So we have to be very careful in these exams. We should give exam like Brahmana. So these studies, now we have to be very careful. Yeah, next.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Examinations. Next January, there will be an examination on this Bhagavad Gita. Papers will be sent by me to all the centers, and those securing the minimum passing grade will be given the title of Bhakti Shastri. Similarly, another examination will be held on Lord Chaitanya's appearance day in February 1970, and it will be upon Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. Those passing will get the title of Bhakti Vaibhava. Another examination will be held sometime in 1971 on the 4 books, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, and the Nectar of Devotion. One who will pass this examination will be awarded with the title of Bhakti Vedanta. I want all of my spiritual sons and daughters will inherit this title of Bhakti Vedanta, so that the family transcendental diploma of Bhakti Vedanta will continue through the generations. Those possessing the title of Bhakti Vedanta will be allowed to initiate disciples. Maybe by 1975, all of my disciples will be allowed to initiate and increase the number of generations. This is my program. So we should not simply publish these books for reading by outsiders, but our students must be well versed in all of our books, so that we can be prepared to defeat all opposing parties in the matter of self-realization.
So like some devotees are very good in book distribution, but when the person asks who's purchasing his book, and he tells what is there in this book, then if that person who is distributing the books, he doesn't know, then it will become a cause of shame. So that's why we should study these books thoroughly, as well as we should maintain humility. So there will be some students who will be great, they will get a great score, but that should not go to our head, and we should not become proud, but we should become humble, So in Subhashit, there is one nice Subhashit there. Namanti phalino viksha, namanti gunano jana, shushka kastasya murkasya, na namanti kadach. So which trees bow down? Those who have fruits. Which people bow down? Those who have good qualities. Which trees remain straight? Those who don't have any fruits. Or a person who will be very arrogant, who is ignorant. So that's why the qualification of a person who has passed the exam is his humility, his behavior of humility with other devotees. So we should not become like Romarshan Sud, who did not stood up to give respect to Adi Guru, the Balramji. So that way, our education should not go to our head and we become arrogant and start disrespecting other devotees. Rather, this divine study should bring in our heart a great humility. Like we see in our line of spiritual masters, there is a Bhaktivedanta Thakur who was a great scholar, and his Guru Maharaj was just illiterate, but he has a great devotion for Lord Bharam. So same way the devotion is matters. So we are taking these exams and we all are giving exams with sincerely, and whatever score comes, that should be our endeavor. Somebody may score very great, somebody may get mediocre, but nobody should get discouraged or nobody should become very proud. With all humility, we should try to help each other and score as nicely as possible and read very nicely and cultivate the qualities of the Vaishnava in our life. Otherwise, we will just pass these exams, but the final exam will come, and that time we may fail. So these exams should bring in our life a quality of a humility, So that way we should give these exams thoroughly, honestly, and with all our good efforts. We must give these exams because Prabhupada wanted. Next.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Yes.
Brahman Pandit. In this way, you have to understand by studying carefully the philosophy. We have got so many books now, and I want all of my disciples to read them carefully. Soon, we shall be instituting Bhakti Shastri examinations, and all Brahmins will have to pass. Letter to Upendra, January 7, 1976. Also, you must see that the Brahmanas are given sufficient time to read the books. Soon we shall be introducing the Bhakti Shastri examination, which all Brahmanas will be expected to pass. It will be based on Bhagavad Gita, the nectar of devotion, nectar of instruction, Isopanishad, and the small paperback books like Easy Journey. A Brahmana should be Pandita. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
So many times we see that the devotees purchase, full Bhagavatam set, they purchase full Chaitanya Charitamrita set, but that set is never open. So we just keep Bhagavad Gita as it is in our lockers. So why many people start doing Bhakti Shastri? Because they know that it is a precondition for getting Brahman initiation. So that mood also is not very high. So we should study Bhakti Shastri for understanding in a better way. So we should not limit ourselves to reading only these 4 books, but as well as we should read all the books which Prabhupada has published. Now the small books, every book has a divine message, which can make us a very great asset in the movement. So that's why these studies are very, very important. Read,
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Aim for Bhakti Shastri. After the student studies the Vedas under the master for some time, at least from age 5 to 20, he may become a man of perfect character. Study of the Vedas is not meant for the recreation of armchair speculator, but for the formation of character. Hare Krishna.
So now in our Bhakti Shastri courses, we should not just get good grades, but as well as we should get a good character. So that will be a right, attitude of learning these pictures. So there are 3 things known as knowledge, skills, and values. Knowledge means to know. So it has a theoretical knowledge, it has an understanding, and it has a relation. Skills means what to do. So we have to develop these skills. Somebody has a good skill in music, somebody has a good skill in cooking. So this can be developed and applied in our life. So values are very, very important. That what we should be, that should be innate qualities. Removing unwanted things, manifesting all qualities. Like there are the doctors who are very learned, who are very good. But if they have a lack of values, then they will use those doctorate to, cut the patient's kidneys or sell them, or doing all wrong things of their, studies. So then that kind of learning has no value. It's just a person as a Brahma Rakshas. He has all knowledge, but his implementation is thoroughly wrong. So like that, we should not study scriptures to blaspheme others or to define others' positions or to start arguing with others. So that is not the purpose of studying. So we have to develop all divine qualities in our life. So these are the things which are expected from Bhakti Shastri. We should get a realization about what we are studying and we have to apply in our life what we have learned, Vaishnava etiquettes and all that. And we should have values of what we have studied. And that should be exhibited by our all qualities, how we deal with each other and deal with other people who come in devotional service. So like that, we should get benefited by this knowledge, skills, and values. Somebody can read?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
I will read. Vedic evidence for aims-driven education. Any learning process has three broad stages. Number one, Shravana, hearing knowledge from the teacher. Number two, Manana, gaining an intellectual understanding by reflecting on what is learned. Number three, Nididhyasana, realization and living according to this realization.
So we see like a cow goes in the grazing field and she eats a lot of grass. But after she comes back to the home, she starts chewing it, and that is called as a manan. And what is the ultimate use of eating all that grass? She should be able to give milk. That is nidhyasana. So when we hear these bhakti classes, we should meditate upon what we heard and ponder upon it. And very, very systematically when we learn, and that should come in our practice. So that is nidhyasana. So these are the three stages of learning. Somebody can do it?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Mataji.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam. Without aim, what is the use of practice? If you have no goal, there is exam. Man without any aim is ship without any rudder. So suppose if aeroplane is going with an aim to land in some country, but if he goes on simply without any aim, then there will be disaster. So without aim, what is the use of practice? That is foolishness. Without goal, practicing is foolishness. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
So all these our scriptural studies is to bring Krishna Prem, a divine service attitude towards Lord and his devotees. That is our purpose of studying these scriptures. Not to show ourselves very great learned scholars, but we have to become a great servant of all other devotees. So that should be our aim of studying these scriptures. Read.
Yeah. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes.
Yeah. Aims of Bhakti Shastri, values in the Bhakti Shastras. To help students understand and appreciate the mood of and mission of the Srila Prabhupada, and to perpetuate that understanding within the ISKCON society.
So,
Hare Krishna.
Why Prabhupada has started this? For what purpose we are distributing books? For what purpose we are worshipping deities? For what purpose we are distributing prasad? If we don't know this, then we will just become a other NGO, which is distributing food, which is distributing medical care, which is distributing mundane literature. So that is not our purpose. So what is our value? Why we are doing that? All we can understand by reading these scriptures. So now there will be assessment for what all you study. So this assessment is very divine. Like in our school days, we used to pass by getting 35 marks, 35%. But here percentage is very high. Actually, we should get 100%. But still, it is here minimum in open book assessment, one should score 65%. The passing marks are 50%. And the closed book assessment is 20%. Out of that, minimum passing mark is 65. So this is like total 100%, but every percentage has a passing mark within it. Like your open book assessment is there, it is out of 100% is 65%. But open book assessment, in that assessment, you have to get minimum 50% to pass in open book assessment. So above percentage is a coverage and below is passing in that. So closed book is around 20% of whole of your assessment. And every closed book you should get minimum 65%. So closed book exam, like you will have after every unit. And there is a memorization of verses. So there will be verse numbers will be given to you all beforehand in your course books. So kindly memorize them. You spend every day at least, just read it, every day, and it will be memorized. You will easily memorize it. But don't start memorizing before exam. Then you are preparing to fail. Surely you are going to fail. So please, this memorization verses should start very beginning of your course. Don't keep it pending till the last day of exam. You cannot mug up these verses in one day. Rather, when you understand the meaning of the verses, every word's meaning, then you relish memorizing these verses. Otherwise, our memorizing verses like the parrot, he just memorizes it, but it has no understanding. Like once the parrot, the senior most parrot, he taught others, child parrots that learn this, that this hunter will come, he'll spread the net and he will put grains. Don't eat the grains and get caught in the net. So they have learned that lesson. They memorize it. They pass the test also. But what happened? When the senior parrot went out and when it returned, the parrot saw that all his baby parrots are in the net. And in net, they are chanting, the hunter will come, he'll spread the net, don't eat the grains, you'll get caught in the net. So they have just mugged up what he taught. They didn't learn a lesson with relation. So that kind of memorization of verses is not expected. That we just somehow hurry memorize those. No, every verse of Gita, NY, NOD, Ishamnishad is very, very valuable. And we should thoroughly understand, and mercifully Prabhupada has given meaning of every word of that verse so that you can just get the meaning also. So that way we should nicely take this task of memorizing verses right at the beginning of your course. And there will be 50%, 5% marks for your sadhana. How you attend the classes, how you answer the questions, what is your contribution, those all will get 5 marks. This is class participation. Read. Hare Krishna. Somebody can read.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I will read.
Yes.
Prabhuji. Assessments. Prabhupada always encouraged devotees to write. Realization means you should write, every one of you. What is your realization? You write your realization, what you have realized about Krishna. That is required. It is not passive. Always you should be active. Whenever you find time, write. Never mind 2 lines, 4 lines, but you write your realizations. Shravanam Kirtanam, writing or offering prayers, glories, this is one of the functions of a Vaishnava. Hare Krishna.
So those who have studied very well, they will write the relations. So this will be this is last slide. Some Mataji can read.
I'm very much stressing at this point that all of my students shall be very much conversant with the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, and that they should read our books very diligently, at least 1 or 2 hours daily, and try to understand the subject matter from varieties of angles. Hare Krishna.
So this is the orientation for you all. So I wish you all the best for your courses. And whatever handbook you have got, that is from earlier Mayapur Institute of Higher Education. We are also preparing our handbook. It is just in process of getting final proofreading. So by next week, you will get the handbook from Bhakti Vidyalaya. And that will be your book for study. It will have all question banks and all your other details. So that book you will get within a week. So I wish you all the best for your courses. Study very diligently with all humility and participate very 100%. Don't come late in classes. And we see that there will be a lot of dropouts. For any education, there will be dropout students. So I request you all that have patience with maintain this enthusiasm of studying this course. And if you give yourself nicely, you will release this course. You will look forward for the next class. But if you start half-heartedly doing these courses, then it will become a burden. Then you will surely drop out from this course. So I don't expect the institute's responsibility is that all students should pass. So it's our desire that you all took admission, so you should come out very successful. And we are there to help you at every stage of your required time So please freely ask if you need any extra help. We are there to serve. So I wish you all the best and look forward that you completely successfully complete like the last batch in Gachibowli we had. So you carry forward the legacy of your previous batch and complete this course. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Gopal.
Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyascha patitanam and the Vaishnava and the Koti Vaishnava.
Is there
Hare
Ananda
Krishna.
Guru around?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Gopal Champu, you're saying something?
Is Anand Gopru is there or he has gone? He has left.
No, I think Anantagopal Prabhu told me he will just stay for 5-10 minutes and then leave, Prabhu. So
Okay.
I'm not sure
So
if he's
Anand Gopru is your primary teacher. That means he has the responsibility of this whole batch. And who is the batch coordinator?
I'm the batch coordinator, Prabhu. That's Raj.
So let us loudly chant one Haribol for Dasarajpur. It's not easy. To become class monitor is not easy. To make everybody streamline, people will have bitterness or other things. So don't feel like that. Follow his instructions and follow your instruction of your teacher. And I request you all be punctual. I saw many students coming last moment, even orientation class. I know in the first class only they are coming late, so I don't know what they will do in future. So please don't spare your time for these courses. Don't adjust them with other things. Exclusively try to study Srila Prabhupada books. This is study. This study will take us back to God. So with that seriousness, you all take part in it. You know? Like other people do TOEFL and all, which takes them to America. How much they, you see how much they sweat and put their time. So these studies will take us to spiritual worlds. So at least we give the time which we have decided. So I hope nobody has forced you to join this course. You voluntarily decided to take up this course. So please, you humbly maintain that mood and relish this Krishna consciousness journey of learning. And I wish if you become a good student, then you will become a good teacher. So that also is our future. If you study very nicely, then you will become teacher. You can teach nicely to others. So that will be success. Okay. So I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.